Hello guys, welcome to the channel once again, and if you're new, welcome to the channel for the first time. Today I'm going to be talking about Chris's affiliation with the new Blue Umbrella Corporation, and if you haven't already checked out my videos, I've actually covered in depth Blue Umbrella and the new affiliations between him to some depth. If you just go YouTube that with my name, you'll be able to find that out, Avidexpert Blue Umbrella, and that will give you a brief summary into the subject. But if you're already educated on the subject matter, let's just get right into the topic anyway. Chris Redfield, our titular hero who has been with us through such a long journey, has now returned in Resident Evil 7, and it took such a twist when we found out that he's actually affiliated with some kind of new umbrella. We find out that this is later Blue Umbrella, a new corporation made under government reform, and Chris is actually working for them as an advisor. So he's still connected to the BSAA, he's still working with them, and with the interviews recently released, we also uncover the fact that he doesn't apparently trust Blue Umbrella, as many of us don't trust them either. Now this is something I've been wanting to cover in depth now that we know that Chris hasn't actually got any trust for them, because this sets up a very unique dynamic, and I'm sure some of you can agree, especially when I pose this question: why is either party working with each other? Now, Chris going to work for Blue Umbrella is quite an interesting thing, but it does make sense even though he doesn't trust them. Actually, that adds more sense to the entire subject matter, because he's obviously going to investigate and see if anything's up, see what he can find out, do some reconnaissance, and then provide all of that intel and information back to the BSAA, and they'll go decide what to do afterwards. Reconnaissance is the most important part of strategy and war, and it's important to have the information available to you so that you know which move to make properly, and you also know how to stay one step ahead of your opposition. Now the thing is, and keep in mind what I just said, why is Blue Umbrella actually hiring Chris in the first place if he's apparently distrustful of them? And of course we all know they have some sinister motives at heart, and so why are they actually allowing him access to that intel and information to give him a move ahead? Or is this all some elaborate setup and manipulation, and there's something really strange going on here, and maybe the Not a Hero DLC, or possibly Resident Evil 8 will set up this entire new plot based on this little starting point here. I mean, the fact that a new umbrella is around isn't exactly a small thing. It's a huge revelation considering that Umbrella was supposed to have been dissolved, denounced by governments worldwide, and all the remaining operatives sent into hiding. Playing devil's advocate on the other side though, and saying that Blue Umbrella doesn't actually have any sinister motives, that would actually make sense why they hire Chris, because they're trying to save the world. That's apparently their goal. They're actually using Wesker's research to achieve this, and they're hiring top tier bioterrorism operatives to give them advice and insight on operations. Well, that's just a little bit boring. It's kind of contradictory to what Umbrella used to stand for, and also it doesn't really seem like it fits any plot twist, or it's not really a very interesting story. So I just, plain devil's advocate, that's what I came up with. Now that we know all of what I've just said, I think the sinister motives is definitely the more opportune thing that Capcom can go with, and it makes for a much more interesting storytelling device. So, if it is a sinister motive, who is actually behind it all? Because of course there's got to be some asshole at the top of the chain who really wants to get at Chris. Wait, what was the gun that was given to Ethan? What is Chris carrying around with him? Wesker's old samurai edge, but a modified variant. I've already made videos covering the fact that I think Wesker may be particularly involved in the plot of Resident Evil 7, and yes, I know that in Resident Evil 5 the head of what Wesker we saw was destroyed, and I have theories covering that as well, but I'm just saying, for the sake of plot devices and sinister motives and all of these things, that's the only connection and piece of evidence we really have to go on. However, I have one other interesting theory, and this does add up. What about if Alex Wesker, and she's dead, rest in peace her soul now, but remember she put a copy of her mind into Natalia. Now what about if Natalia has somehow spearheaded all of this, and she's giving Chris Wesker's gun as a kind of shadow memento and hint that the legacy is not over, and this is the next progression in the story of the Wesker legacy? This would tie in a lot of Revelations 2's plot and advancement into the current era of Resident Evil. It would be absolutely beautiful, and as I said, it doesn't actually have to happen in Not a Hero. We don't have to fight Natalia right here, but it could be an overarching plot that makes its way into Resident Evil 8. Considering that most of the villains in the Resident Evil universe have been dealt with, except for a few that are remaining from old series but just seem to have disappeared like Natalia, well, I think that Resident Evil 8, which they already want to make, only has a few options. It can either go with an old villain or a completely new one. So whoever is going to be the main villain behind Resident Evil 8, I'm sure they're going to be heavily involved in the plot of Not a Hero. And the point I'm trying to make as to why they hired Chris is I think this is all a trap to lure him into an area, and I actually think that they want to kill him. Now, considering that he has Wesker's gun, and we're talking about Umbrella here, again, Natalia fits it perfectly, or should I say Alex, to be honest, because she has close associations with Umbrella. That's been her entire life, as well as the fact that she has close associations with Wesker. It just all seems to line up really well. Let me know what you guys think anyway, guys, about this video. I know you guys have been enjoying these opinion pieces, and I just wanted to give another one of those out there. This is a little bit of an informative one, but just let me know what you think in the comments below. Where do you think the franchise is going, and what do you think we're going to find out about in Not a Hero, and who's behind the organization Blue Umbrella? Anyway, guys, I just hope you're having a beautiful day. As always, for now, take it easy and peace.